Going inside Memorial Sports, this is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. You are in the Panther Fan Zone on a Monday night. This is the final week of the regular season for most varsity teams. Memorial actually wrapped up their, inaugural non-varsity season last week. So I have a couple of folks in to talk about that. Jason Richards, is he out? Is he already out starting to scout other teams for next year? He's a football junkie. So
I don't know if he's out quite yet. I know he's got his eye on some and starting to scheduling already.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because you guys got an important number this week to kind of figure out where you're going to be. If you're watching on TV, I'm being joined by offensive coordinator Garrett Martin and Hickson Howard. I forgot to ask what positions you are.
Right, wide receiver.
Okay, just one way?
Yes, sir.
That's. We're going to talk about your offensive numbers. That's a good place to be. Garrett, now your season's over, but we were just talking about your high school alma mater. Are you paying attention to what Dad's doing this week?
I am. It's been a crazy district this year. Outright champs last year, undefeated in the district, and I don't know exactly what the case is for them to get in. I know it's going to be a hard road. I think some other things have to happen, but they're young this year. I know they're going to bring a bunch of guys back. I think 9 on both sides. So it's a learning curve for those guys. They lost a bunch of key guys, but that staff always does a good job. Loving the kids up, and I think they're going to finish this season out strong.
And just to be clear, you don't have to say that. You're actually saying it.
Yes. Yep.
Because Dad is still the head coach, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he's been there a few years.
He has, I think, 30 plus.
Well, I was talking to the Friendship coach today about there's been 3 coaches in 40 years at Friendship. Yep. And I would guess at Abilene Wiley, it's probably something pretty similar.
Yep, I think the number's 2 in that span.
Yep.
So
there's something to be said about stability. There's a reason those are 2 really good programs.
Yes, sir.
You guys finished 7-3 in this inaugural season, and
yes,
I can call it up, but you rattle off what you tweeted earlier today. 3 games against varsity opponents.
Yes, sir.
Although one of them wasn't supposed to be, and came down here and brought a varsity team.
Yes, sir.
What were the other facts that you threw out there?
I think there was one game. We got a late ad, Wellington. We had to travel there. Tough trip for our guys. Great program. I don't know when the last time they played on grass. That was a different thing for those guys. But came out with a win against a tough Wellington team. That was a weird deal, too. Everybody had moved their games to Thursday.
Yep.
So we played 9-minute quarters in that game. And so that was one 9-minute quarter game. And then 6 of those games against junior varsity opponents was the regular 10-minute instead of the 12-minute varsity games. And but unbelievably proud of our kids, how they handled numerous times of different scheduling and finding opponents and finding a way to do whatever we asked them to do in those instances.
Get one of them to talk about it here. Hickson, grab that mic. So I've had teammates on here before, and I've come out to school and talked about, as you guys were going through this, you've had a few days to kind of let it soak in. What were those 10 games like for you guys?
I think they were great. We played really good. Our 3 losses against those varsity opponents. We went out there, showed what we can do, and then I'm just excited for next year and the year after that.
You're a sophomore.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
So you get the 2 years left. That's what's been cool watching Liberty the last few years and watching you guys as coaches get these guys. Like, they're going to be third-year seniors by the time they get to that finish line. Give me 2 of your favorite memories from this season.
Just putting kids on their butt and then going out there and scoring with all my guys.
Wait, you're a receiver. You're supposed to be catching the ball, not knocking guys on their butt.
I know. I like to think of I'm both ways on offense.
Yeah, you're a little bit bigger. You may have a little tight end in you. Nah. I always bring up the tight end.
Try a little bit of that,
sir.
I'm a former tight end, so I'm always trying to promote if I can.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the 3 varsity opponents. It was Littlefield,
Cisco.
I was about to say Crowley. No. And then Prosper Richland, who kind of said they weren't a varsity team, and then I saw their roster the week before, and I was like, it's a varsity team, because they had like 17 or 18 seniors and juniors.
I think that was the number. Yeah, our kids competed their butts off in that game, and we always talk about it's all about us. They didn't care about who we were playing and what that factor was, but they were a good team.
And that was a really good look. That was a Friday night under the lights at People's Bank Stadium,
yes,
correct?
Sir. Yes, sir.
I'm assuming you played on there in middle school in some form or another.
Yes, sir.
What was that night like to be out there, to know that 10 months from now, whatever, that's going to be home for at least 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, it was crazy. I loved it. And the atmosphere, all the people there, and then all of our guys just showed out. Like Coach Martin said, we didn't care who we were playing. We just went out there and competed.
And I've talked to Jason about this. You guys designed this on purpose. You wanted to make sure they were ready. Again, we'll talk about some numbers here in a minute because you've got to be ready next year.
Absolutely.
As still a young coach, when you see guys going through that, because this is very rare air. Liberty got to do it for a few years. You guys did it this year. What did you see from 15, 16-year-old guys that encourages you about moving forward?
We touched on it a little bit after the last game. We got to all talk to the team and talk to those guys about they didn't grow up wanting to be a Memorial Panther. It was a complete shock to them when this school opened, and then we asked them to do a lot. And I think the most encouraging thing for myself and our coaching staff is how they adapt to change and how they accept challenges from us when they don't have to. And I'm unbelievably grateful for the kids that we have and the ability for them to allow us to coach them, because we can tell them whatever we want, we can get on their butt however we want, but if they don't accept it and move forward and get better from it, that was the most encouraging part, for them to weather those hardships in those 3 varsity games, a new school, new faces. When we started early August, we didn't have a bye week.
Right.
We went through all the way through fall camp, our scrimmage, and then 10 straight games to ask sophomores in high school to do that and improve over that time. It's really impressive for these kids to do that day in and day out, go to class. We had morning practices every single day. And we say this all the time, I can't think of one other junior varsity that got coached as much as these guys did. And having to watch film, like a varsity team. Yes, and watch film and be held to a standard, and for them to accept that and improve from that, that's the most encouraging thing to us.
We're going to talk about some of the other milestones when we come back. We're coming up on a break. Come join us again after that in the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
This is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. We're in the Panther Fan Zone on the first Monday night of November, also known as the last week of the regular high school football season, but we're in the second week of the high school volleyball playoffs. It's a little bit different. They changed the schedule just a little bit. I think Amy Mangum was the one who told me they did that so that if you get to the state tournament, you have a little bit of a break before you get there. But the Memorial Panthers volleyball team played its first ever playoff match last week against Graham and won its first playoff match. I think it was 3-0.
Yes.
And they tomorrow at 5 in the afternoon at a place that I'm going to guess that Garrett knows a little bit about. They play at Moody Coliseum on the campus of ACU against Springtown, which has a really gaudy record. I think they were 40-9 or something like that. But I told these two guys sitting here that I bet your girls put on a good show.
No doubt.
How many of the volleyball girls are you friends with, Hickson?
I'd say like 10. I'd say most of them.
That for freshman and sophomore volleyball players, they got some swagger.
Mm-hmm. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
She's going to get mad. Bradley Wicks, that girl she'll fill up the room now. She'll tell you exactly what she thinks and how good she can be. So
yes, sir.
And that's what you got to have.
No doubt.
There's a line. You don't want to go too far over it, but I think your girls will be okay.
Absolutely.
And that'll be the last time they play a 4A playoff match because the UIL snapshot numbers came out this week. Memorial submitted, and I would need to talk to Brian Grillick because you guys had to follow a little bit different formula, just like Liberty did a few years ago, where you guess or you predict and project. But the number you turned in, guys, was 2194, which puts you right smack dab in the middle of football-wise 5A Division I.
Yes, sir.
So Garrett knowing that, and now you won't have to play Dad unless you guys get them on the schedule as a non-district game. Yeah. But you're going to be in with Original Friendship, Monterey, maybe Lubbock High. Who else am I missing? Any of the 4 Amarillo schools. Three of them for sure, maybe 4 of them. So these guys are going to go from, I don't want to say low pressure or low key to the frying pan's going to be pretty hot, pretty quick. And a lot of it's going to be right here in town, so they're going to get a chance to show just how quickly they've grown and learned. So Hickson, knowing that you're going to be playing Monterey, and I think you actually play Liberty.
We do.
In non-district. I don't know if anything's been set up with Lubbock Cooper. They'll probably stay Division II. But how excited are you to these next few months to get ready for that schedule?
Pretty excited, pretty nervous. Just got to trust our coaches as to what they're doing to us in the off season, and then next year we'll go out there and compete.
I would imagine the weirdest thing for you guys will be when you play Friendship, because that's coaches that you grow up, like Coach said, you all grew up thinking I'm going to be a Friendship Tiger.
Yes, sir.
Until things started to change. But also going to be I guess there will be some former teammates across the line.
Yes, sir.
You started talking to them about what it's going to be like to play each other?
Yes, sir. We have a group chat. It was our old lunch table, and we just talk. Most of the time it's us talking smack. But, I'm pretty confident in our guys. I think we'll beat them.
You guys, especially wide receiver, Garrett knows this from being nearby. Kids grow up out in that part of town. I want to go be a receiver or a quarterback at Friendship. That's just sort of like I grew up wanting to be a fireman. These guys wanted to be a receiver or a quarterback for Friendship, and for good reason. And
yes, sir.
You look at the K-State Texas Tech game the other day. There's 2 former quarterbacks and a receiver that wore a Friendship uniform. So you've seen a lot of those teams coaching against them when you were at Hardin-Simmons, probably recruiting some of these teams. How ready will your guys have to be 10 months from now when they get out on the field? Well, I guess a little bit over 10 months when they get into the district season next year.
Yeah, I think that's to focus on that. That's something that's going to happen 10 months from now. I think that's detrimental to what we're trying to do. And I think they've got to take it day by day. And I think they've got to reset when they walk in the weight room and have goals in mind and have that in mind. Yeah, we're going to play 5A Division I football. But we've got to find a way to eliminate that and focus on ourselves. I mean, how good can I possibly be today? And I think that when it boils down to that, it makes it pretty easy for those guys when they walk in there every day.
You said 2 magic words: weight room.
Yep, no doubt.
That's going to be important
Absolutely.
for every young person at Memorial. And I'm old enough where the weight room was sort of a thing, but you didn't. Now the weight room is that. I remember looking at Liberty before the weight room and then after the weight room. I was like, oh,
no doubt.
Kids have grown up. You like the weight room?
Love it.
There we go. We've got one more break coming up. We're going to talk more Panther football and maybe some other Panther sports when we come back after this break in the High School Fan Zone.
Going inside Memorial Sports, this is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. We're going to talk a little bit more Panther sports because I want to branch out here a little bit. Now, Garrett said he's not coaching another sport. He just gets to call plays. Are you like a evil genius, like offensive coordinator?
Oh, man, I just try to get the playmakers the ball, get these guys, Hickson and all our guys the ball in space. That's all I need to do. So.
Have you seen the commercial with the guy walking around the factory talking to people about offensive plays and nobody understands them, and then Tom Brady? See it? Now, my wife, fortunately, I married a sports-oriented wife, so sometimes I'll be talking to her about stuff, and she'll still look at me like, I don't know, but I can only imagine being a coach's wife is a little bit more. There's probably a lot of nodding and smiling.
Yep. Well, my wife is the head girls soccer coach at Memorial, so she gets it. So not the football stuff, really.
So you don't lend a hand in soccer?
What's that?
You don't lend a hand in soccer?
I don't. No, okay. I do not. Not even close. So
we're not playing soccer, right?
No, sir.
No, we're going to be a track athlete. What events in track are you looking forward to?
110 hurdles, 300 hurdles, and then anything else they can put me in.
That sounds like a receiver right there.
Yep.
You like to get up and run. Your other sports this fall have been incredible with what they've accomplished along the way. Your tennis team, I think, went to the regional. Team tennis confuses me a little bit. I think it was the regional round.
Yes, sir.
And cross country, you had a really good run. I think that's a good kind of harbinger for you guys. They got to a certain point and then got into a regional level and started to see there's some pretty good athletes
for sure
outside of our little bubble, which you guys take care of business. You're going to get outside your bubble pretty quick at the end of next year. So
absolutely. And
then, of course, the volleyball girls we've already talked about. Where basketball starts, your girls start this week.
Correct.
Boys start next week. Your girls, Jason Cooper, bless his heart, he did not wade into the shallow end. Their first scrimmage was against Monterey, the reigning 5A state champion, and one of his former assistant coaches. I've not spoken to him. scrimmages I know are valuable tools for coaches, but for me it's like, okay, let's get the real thing started. So,
right.
Which we'll kind of go back to that again. We don't know your schedule yet. You needed the number to come out to kind of figure out where you're going to be. But I know Jason a few weeks ago said that the idea is to start right off the bat against Liberty, which you guys may be playing a team to start next season that's talking about how deep they went in the playoffs. That's how good they are. Have you seen them play?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So you have an idea.
Great program. We've got a great staff, good players over there.
And how people laugh at me for being an old guy. I know people don't write things on their calendars and circle it in red anymore. Everything's on their phones. But how excited are you guys to know that first step, you're going to work towards that for the next 8, 9, 10 months, and know right off the bat you get to jump in against Liberty, which I guess you probably know some guys from over there too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. No, we just got to let off some steam. I know some of those guys over there. Some of them don't like me. I don't like them. But, we just got to go out there. It's going to be a dogfight.
That's life in high school sports.
Yes, sir.
Are you kind of paying attention to see what they're going to do here in the playoffs?
Yes,
to kind of
sir.
have an idea?
Yes, sir.
And what about you, Garrett? You're coming from a school and a town where there's been rivalries built in for years and years. That could be one probably going to wind up being a district game at some point. That could be kind of where you light the fuse on the little rivalry right off the bat.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere for our kids, and we're gonna start off with a good opponent, scrimmaging Greenwood, right. And unbelievable program with those guys. Coach Hill's done an unbelievable job over there. We should look forward to the challenge, and we're taking that day in and day out to improve who we are, not worried about anybody else, and a great program, great coaching staff. They've done an unbelievable job in a short amount of time.
I want to go back to something you mentioned for both you guys. You had a long-time college background. By the time you get guys in college, they know that they've got to get into the videos and break things down and understand things. You switch over to 15 and 16-year-olds, that's a little bit different world to them. When you guys started looking at video and started breaking it down, was a little bit get a little bit dizzy at first, kind of looking at that, because that's a whole different part of football.
Yes, sir. At Friendship in middle school, we watched film. At Friendship, we watched some. And then now, it was after school every day in the mornings. But, coach was on our butt. We got to be in there. We got to know what they're doing, what defense they're going to run. And then we just go out there and compete.
How much did your young guys soak that part of it up? Because physically you can get them ready. You can get them bigger, stronger, faster. But to grow them from the neck up, that takes some coaching.
No doubt, and it takes them being open to that, to improve in different ways than just physical. I thought they did a way better job understanding not only what our opponents are running, but why we're doing things. And that's a different beast of its own, trying to explain that to those kids and not overloading them. I think football is a simple game, sometimes complicated by us coaches, not just letting our guys go play sometimes. So.
And with all apologies to Mom, sometimes the folks out here complicate a little bit, so sometimes they just need to be kids.
Yep.
That's going to wrap us up in the Panther Fan Zone. We've got one more segment coming up in the Patriot Fan Zone when we come back after this break.